Hello there, Crackbook, and off over to my Twitter. I don't know whether Twitter can actually watch Facebook Lives from Twitter. I don't think they actually can. I think they just get notification that there is a Facebook Live. But obviously these get uploaded onto my YouTube, so they will be available on my YouTube channel. Wow, what a fucking few days. I have allowed myself to go to a place that usually I distract myself from, and I do what's called a state change. And to anybody who knows me as a coach and knows the tools and techniques that coaches use to change their state, I usually do that. So whenever I know I'm going through the stages, and what you've got to remember, there's a couple of different, what do they call them? A couple of different theories of the stages of grief. A couple of people, I'm just wobbling my laptop, sorry. I've added a few different ones, but basically, grief is obviously written for people who children or partners or loved ones have died. And I'm just coming over, I'm just skating around on the internet. Just come back to this window. And usually, obviously, somebody prepares for the death of a loved one or a child because they either know that they're sick, they're not well, and their time is coming. And people get to spend time and do what I know to be called the bucket list. And if you're going to lose somebody that you love very, very dearly, then obviously people like to make sure that, you know, they get to live the best version of the end of their days. Obviously, if someone commits suicide, it causes a lot more trauma to the family because it comes in shock. Children die, parents grieve. But when it comes to the types of grief that this network is dealing with, then it's not the same grief that most people go through. I'm just struggling a minute because my mind is going into quite a few different parallels. I've got quite a lot on my mind today. Obviously, we've got XR out there and a couple of other things going on. In fact, there's probably about 10 different protests going on. It's just that only one is in the press at the moment. So basically, the main, I'm just trying to find something here to actually read to you to give you a clearer outline, because disenfranchised grief is not something that people really understand. And the cycle of grief was basically written, so say all of a sudden somebody dies, then we go into denial, we avoid, can feel confusion, shock, fear, and then we can go into anger, and that anger could be good. They've left us because we didn't get to say bye, the frustration, the irritation of it. And then we can fall into, it's actually the other way around. It's actually bargaining, then depression. Somebody's actually put this one wrong. So you can go into a really bad depression. The bargaining is actually before depression. So struggling to find the meaning, reaching out to others, telling people your story, and then you can fall into the depression. Then you come to the acceptance, and the acceptance is to do with your moving on plan. Now, when somebody dies, and we've all either had a grandparent or somebody close to us who has died, and we have this ritual, and this ritual is basically we bury them or we cremate them, and we have a service and we say goodbye. With that goodbye comes the stages of healing. With that goodbye comes a way for us to move forward, that we accept that this person is no longer in our lives anymore. That void is there, but they are gone, and we bury them, and that's it. But with disenfranchised grief, you can't go through all of the stages, and you can't connect to all of the stages because we didn't bury our children. We didn't say bye to our children. We didn't choose for our children to be no longer in our lives. And for anybody who's been through social care will understand the torment that having social coming in does. It doesn't come in from a caring, considerate point of view. It's not sitting down with you going, okay, who are you? What are you up to? Where are you going with your life? What's going on? It isn't coming from a place of compassion and understanding. And even with this sort of thing today, so people can go, Kelly's got depression. No, I don't have depression. I'm going through stages of grief. And what happens for any person who's been on my social media for a while, you might have noticed the patterns, and not a lot of people know how to deal with it because I'm very raw about it, I'm very open about it, and I'm very honest about what I'm going through. And that reason is because, one, I'm here to highlight the damage that social care are doing to our families, and to highlight why I started Challenge Britain in the first place. And it scares the living shit out of me that we've got these leaders of our country right now who are all focused on the preservation and protection of our country. So all they're interested in at the moment is who's bigger and stronger that might be able to come in and overpower our monarchy and overpower our government. That is all they're interested in. That is it. Yeah, the policing isn't even about, keeping the streets safe. Because this is what I call, when I'm talking about the weeds and the trees, this is what I'm talking about. We have a political country that is spraying the weeds, basically. So not getting to the root of the problem and not empowering our country. Now, I've got the hashtag Every Mind Matters, and that's because Boris Johnson went to Watford Hospital 2 days ago and launched Every Mind Matters. Everybody says that there is a problem with mental health in this country, but people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to hear Kelly's having a really bad day today, because if I have a bad day, what does that mean for everybody else? Well, I do have bad days. I have very bad days. In fact, I have cried for 4 days straight since having Aaron and Faith's letter, because I don't know. It's the uncertainty. It's the I don't have the answers. And this is the problem with our country right now. There is so much uncertainty, and we, the people, need some certainty right now. I need some certainty right now. And the problem is I will never get this now. I will be in this cycle of grief for the rest of my days now. It is just how I learn to handle it, and how the people around me that are in my life choose to handle it. And I said on a post today, it's not about sitting down and talking with a shrink, because I could sit and talk to a shrink until the cows come home. I can give them the start, the beginning, the list. How do you feel about this? How does that make you feel? How is your relationship with your mother? How is the relationship with your father? And back to square one again. One of the reasons that the mental health service doesn't work is because straight away they take the individual and they put you into a system, and then you speak to that system, and then all of your stuff goes on to paperwork and into a file. That doesn't help. The only way you can truly help a person through something is to work with the team that is around them, to work with the individuals around them. And that doesn't matter how damaged or how broken those relationships are. What they should always be doing is bringing us to a standard. So it should always be within lines of your support group. But we in our country don't have basic values and beliefs. We are free to do whatever we want, not protest on the streets because that's going to get you arrested. Isn't it really funny, actually? Is this thing with XR not proving something to you all? Is it not showing you something? Are you not all seeing what we're showing you? That it is just this fine line between personal responsibility and accountability. Every single person who's gone on that camp knows the consequences. Chances are you are going to be arrested. They are not committing any criminal act. This is all civil, yet it is being dealt with by the police. If you have a look at all of the statistics around the world on how many arrests have been done, I think there was something like 257 in the UK, 5 in another country, 3 in another country, 10 in another country, 32 was the maximum in another country. So does that not just show you alone that this is a UK problem? That alone, how XR is being treated around the world, and look what's going on in Hong Kong, mate. Yeah, it is rioting out there in Hong Kong. It just goes to show you the difference between a communist country, what's considered a democrat country, to all these other isms that exist in this country. The fact is, they need to treat us as individuals. Simple as that. We cannot have a one size fits all system. It doesn't work. We can have a standard, and that standard should be for all of us as individuals, be it male or female. There does need to be this role. There has to be some form of role. There has to be some form of agreement between us and every single person that lives here in the UK. What's going on at the moment? It hasn't even flipped over yet, mate. I mean, people haven't even seen what's coming yet. This is nothing. You really, really, really think that what XR are doing right now is the be all and end all of what they're doing? This is about an assembly, mate. This isn't about the planet. This is about a people's assembly. And the quicker that people switch on to that, the better. The planet is just an excuse, mate. Yes, it has to change. Yes, we live in too much toxicness here in the UK. And one of the reasons that I struggle so much is because every day I'm getting up and I'm living in a parallel universe to the world that I want to be getting up and getting ready into. And I find it absolutely devastating. Where I live right now is in a world of its own to anybody else that lives on a housing estate. This is not normal in comparison to housing estates that I've been to and known and also grew up with as a child. This is a FEMA camp. This is where the immigrants get dumped. This is the dumping ground. Yeah, it is not a healing place. It is a dumping ground. It is a place that we just have housing people and police and the state people walk around. In fact, we have got notices that have been put up all the way around this place right now that we've all got to ring 101 for any form of antisocial behaviour. It's given us a list of all of the things. Now, they did this to me previously, and this is what then led to me being detained and Elijah being taken off of me and me being assaulted by the police, going out to get some milk, because I actually did ring 101 because of the antisocial behaviour that was going on, and I didn't want to get involved. And lo and behold, it all ended up going a very different way. So anyway, for me, life is very difficult. I am having the biggest battle with suicide ever in my life. This has been an on and off going. It is a roller coaster, and I'm sure my social media represents that roller coaster that I go on. But we have lost another 6 dads in the over the weekend. Another 6 fathers. It has been too much for being alienated from their kids. And another 6 fathers have taken their lives. You know, how is this every mind matters? I mean, our education system really, really, really needs to think about what it's teaching our youth. I will not be putting my kids into, hang on, someone's just said, don't I get told off for mentioning my kids' names on one of your posts today saying I'm not allowed. Kids' names, Aaron, Faith, Aaron, Faith. The only reason I don't give them a surname is because I don't know what their surname is. But Aaron, Faith, I'll say my kids' names as many times as I like. I named them. I brought them into the world. I pushed them out of my vagina. I am their father, gave them their names, and therefore I am the person who can say their names, and I will say their names until my dying day. Aaron and Faith, who were kidnapped by Flintshire County Council by PC Stephen Lewis. And Cheryl Osborne, social worker, committed perjury and fraud at Watford, not at Watford, at Milo's Hospital. Aaron, Faith, Aaron, Faith, Faith. How many times do you want me to prove? I have 10 draconian gagging orders, guys. 10. And yes, they took me for a committal to prison. And yes, I turned up to that committal to prison and I got it vacated because I told them again, I will go into prison and I will come out. And you are never, ever, ever going to stop me from telling people what you did. Ever. This is the difference between XR and us parents. They are not fearful right now of the consequences of the actions against them. Every single one of them that has gone onto that protesting field knows. They know that they are facing arrest. They know that they are going to get 24 hours in a cell. They know potentially they ain't coming out. They know potentially they're going to do 6 weeks, 6 months' time. They know. And they don't fear it. Yet parents, and this is why they pick on these types of parents in the first place, too scared to tell anybody, too scared to tell people their children's names because they're too fearful of going to prison, too fearful, and that's why you get coerced into handing your kids over in the first place, because what's the first thing that they do? They threaten you with the police. This is called gaslighting. This is actually classed as domestic abuse in a relationship, yet when the system do it, people don't want to recognize that what they're actually doing is the same as domestic violence, yet it's being done by the system. So it's systematic violence, it's systematic abuse. It's no different than a mum that tells a father, if you knock on my door, I'm going to ring the police. And then you wonder why the father doesn't knock on the door, because you've told him that you're going to ring the police. And ultimately that father is thinking, well, I don't want to go to prison. Well, sorry, but I will not be fearful of prison. I will not be fearful of being shot. The only thing that matters to me is that there are 2 kids of mine out there, and my daughter has cut her hair off. She's changed herself into a boy, and she needs her mum right now. She needs her mum to be there for her. She needs her mum to understand exactly what she's going through right now. And she needs her mum to help her make it better. So I don't give a shit whether people tell me I can't say Aaron and Faith, that Cotton or Thompson, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what their surnames are now, but you know, I don't care about that. The only thing that I care about at the moment is there's 2 more boys laying in bed right now. And no, I can't go to prison because we know where they'll end up. They'll end up in foster care. And I have to keep them safe. I have to keep them protected. I shouldn't be living the way that I'm living. I've had 19 little stupid things here, either to the job centre or housing or to social. And it's fucking ridiculous. I have actually learned, being in the council environment, why social gets so many calls, and they have to come out and they have to check on it and they have to add on it. What social don't realise is when they're doing the needle in a haystack checks, they don't see the consequences of their actions to these families. And every mind does matter. Yet in this country, the way people perceive people struggling is, you're mental, you're crazy, you're mad. She's mad, she is. I even hear it here. In fact, actually, I got an apology of someone who lives upstairs for going around telling people I was trouble. Well, actually met me for the first time the other day, had a decent conversation with me, shook my hand and actually said, "You're all right, love, you, aren't you really?" It's like, yeah, it's just more of you listening to gossip, listening to rumours, listening to the fact that I rant sometimes and goes, "She's mad, she's crazy, she is." Well, yeah, I'm fucking fuming because my kids got taken. And I don't just have to deal with the grief of my children taken. I have to deal with the grief of my father not being in my life, my mother not being in my life, the way that my mother and father have completely alienated me over this. I have to deal with the fact that I get up every day to a life that I don't recognise. It's not my life. I was already dealing with the grief of living with a physical condition, having to completely rethink my entire life from being netball sports, extreme sports, to having to, totally change my education. Hence why I went into psychology. Hence why, it was all to do with the youth, because I thought it doesn't matter if I'm in a wheelchair, it doesn't matter if I'm walking, it doesn't matter if I run. I can still coach the youth. I can still do this. It doesn't matter from what point. The problem with dealing with this grief is it makes me very unreliable. It means that I can't be consistent, and it means that I can't be, I can't tell you, I can't go and book something with you tomorrow because I can't guarantee how I'm going to feel. Now, the good thing with having a schedule is it actually helps. But I need people around me who understand that things trigger me, things upset me, even certain words trigger me, little head turns trigger me, little things trigger me. The fact that I've had Aaron and Faith's letter has completely just thrown me. It's thrown me into a tailspin. I have literally spent the last 2 days in bed, and it's been nice and it's been good. And when I say in bed, my bed is there, so it's been a good thing. I haven't had somewhere to be able to go for quite a few years now, so this is my first time of actually having somewhere in my home to just go. So it has been hard. And it also pisses me off because there's so much that I want to be doing right now. I would be down there, videos, getting everything. I'd be talking to everybody about what's going on. I mean, tomorrow's perfect. They're all outside the Royal Courts of Justice tomorrow. What a better place to go and educate everybody about what's going on. At the end of the day, these are the people we need to be educating. These are the people now that have risen up in such a way that we've been pushed back down again. Yes, I know them. Yes, I know who's part of it. Yes, I know what's going on. I mean, if you don't think that our organisation influence it, then go back to the song that I posted and tagged everybody in, and then see what song that they're using on their videos. And actually, what's actually funny about that is it was a double song, because it was about me being ready, but it was also about me and Dean. So it's funny that that song was used. That's how much all our networks influence each other. Do I get annoyed sometimes? Yes. Do I beat myself up sometimes? Yes. Do I get really upset sometimes? Yes. But what I want people to know is you don't have to suffer in silence. I feel really bad because I've actually ignored quite a few parents' calls for help this week. And the reason that I've had to do that is because I have desperately asked for this space since getting Aaron and Faith's letter. And I have to look after myself. I'm no good to anybody not even myself or my own children or my own life, if I don't look after me. I'm no good to any parent. I'm no good to this cause. I'm no good to the mission. I'm no good to any of it if I don't take time out to deal with my grief. And it is grief, and it's horrible, and it's horrible to go through. I've been very, very lucky today because I've been able to message Dean in PM, and for the first time ever, rather than him telling me that I don't feel this way, he actually said, okay, and when is this going to happen, and how are we going to deal with it? And that was really powerful, because it's going, okay, he's taking me seriously. He's actually accepting that I really feel this way, because I do. Sometimes it scares me. Sometimes I think, shit, this nothing is going to take me so fucking quick, and I'm not going to get time to say bye, and I'm not going to get time to get these letters done, and it really is going to be that quick, and I'm not going to be able to reach out to somebody and go, whoa, hang on a minute, this is getting serious right now. They can tell you every mind matters, but if they don't teach you about the battlefield of the mind, then it doesn't really matter. And I understand the battlefield of the mind. I understand the spiritual warfare that we deal with. I even understand that sometimes we say things and we don't necessarily mean it in that particular point, but it's what we've got to go through in order to get to the next stage. And that's why it was really important that I allowed myself to feel those emotions and actually be brutally honest with myself about my feelings of being abandoned and my feelings of being alone and going through this alone, and how I feel about the people that have abandoned me along the way. I know that if this could be different, I know that my grief could be different if I just had the correct people around me and the right support systems. But at the end of the day, they have to know how to deal with it too. And we're not taught to do that. We're not, in fact, we're actually taught to avoid somebody who's going through mental health. In fact, it wasn't that long ago that all forms of mental health were kept in complete institutions. Now, at the end of the day, it's not the mental health that's the problem. Mental health is the label. Mental health is the systematic label that has been given. All of these diagnoses, borderline personality, depression, narcissistic, all of these labels, they are just labels. We, the human beings, experience trauma. We experience grief. We experience loss. We feel alone. We feel isolated. But very, 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 very few people can be completely raw and open and honest with their own true feelings. It's okay to say that you are lonely. It's okay to feel lonely. I started my search in 2010 to find my husband because I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be a single mother again. I didn't want to be building a life and memories that only I have to share with. You know, I know how it feels going out onto the park with your kids and seeing dads out pushing the buggies with kids and looking and thinking, you know, how come I can't have that? And seeing the couples walking with the kids and on the park, or families sitting around. I've had that my entire life, seeing and watching other people enjoying their lives while I'm sitting there thinking, well, okay, nice time at the park again today. I love my kids. I adore my kids. But I am not one of them women who's ever wanted to be a single mother. All I've ever wanted to be is in a married, committed relationship and in a family. I've never, ever wanted anything but that. In fact, even my mum will tell you, even at the age of 11, I just wanted to be a wife and a mum. I didn't have any ambitions of any careers. I didn't want to do anything. You know, it wasn't about me having a career. I just wanted to be a wife and a mother. and that was it. I didn't have anything else. That's it. Travel, that was it. I just wanted to be the homemaker, to support my partner, and raise my kids. That's it. But there's something wrong with wanting that these days, because we have to be big career women, don't we? And we have to be women who can do it all. And and men don't want to be just the main provider, and actually they can't even afford to anymore. In the working class world, it takes for both mum and dad to work to be able to afford, a decent home and the content, and to be able to go on holiday. Look at all these blessed people who are using their leave to go and stand on a protest at the moment. People are actually giving up their 28 days a year holiday that they get to do that. The majority of the people doing it don't need to take holiday, and this is where it's unfair, because there's a lot of people who are kicking around on benefits, having a go at government, but they're happy to take the government benefits. The majority of people out there work, and it is very, very, very difficult to take that time out of life to go and do something like go and stand in town and stick your hands to things. Do you really think they want to do that? Look, it's about publicity. It's about getting people to talk about their message. The fact is, the article is real. People know how I feel. I'm not into global warming. I'll tell you, there's an ice age coming, mate, whether you like it or not. It isn't going to be a big heat. It's going to be a fucking big freeze. I've been telling you that for a long time. And this winter is going to be part of that. So if people really want to be doing stuff to help right now, then it would be, making sure that we don't lose too many people this winter. Or if we do, that, it's done with some dignity and respect, but there's no reason for it really, is it? So at the end of the day, we're all individuals. We all have a heart. It beats. We all have blood pumping around our body. We all have the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious mind. Whether you believe it or not, whether you understand your mind, the first thing any mental health organization should be doing is actually teaching you what your mind is, what this space in between these two ears are. And I'm not talking about the brain. I'm talking about your mind, your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. That should be taught basic fundamentals at school anyway. And then we have expectations for our lives. We have desires, passions, talents, skills. And then we have this thing called a job and work and stuff like that. And as people know, I've always been about the laptop life. But I see the damage going on in our towns and cities with the amount of people who took their businesses, off the front window shop and took them online, and the consequences of that was very clear. Lots of big businesses went online, and people don't need the shop front. A lot of people started working from home, where before, in fact, you're not actually allowed to work from home. Council properties prevent you from working from home. Private rental prevent you from working from home. And a mortgage, unless that mortgage is a business mortgage, you're not allowed to work from home. These are all little silly things that have to change. And this is what we the people should be doing now. Now, it's all well and good that Boris Johnson wants to say every mind matters. And every mind does matter. But the way our current system is right now, I can tell you right now that I do not want to go to the doctors. I do not want to sit down with them and say, I'm struggling with my grief. It will then take me 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks to get in to see the shrink, who then won't have the time to sit down with me and get all of the information out. He will see me for an hour. The only way to actually really delve is to then take me into St. James's. St. James's doesn't even have a fucking Bible. In fact, I turned that entire place over. I couldn't find one Bible. I cleaned their art cupboard out. I did their whole crafts class. They didn't even really have much of that. In fact, that is the worst mental health hospital I have ever seen. It really is bad. In fact, I would say all mental health units are really bad. And they have never, ever, ever caught up with the way that it needs to be. I don't need medicating. They could probably stabilize me for a bit, but all that would do is mask the actual feelings that I need to deal with. And my anger comes from all of those who abandoned me while I was going through court. Whereas had they not done that, I wouldn't have lost my kids in the first place. But again, how does anybody of your family take time off work to deal with court as well as travel? And this is the problem that pretty much everybody has who's dealing with the family court system. It's a full-time job. It really is. It's an absolute full-time job. So anyway, for those that are worried, I'm okay. I always will be okay. I have this little stop point in me. It's like gambling. It's like playing the stock markets. You have an entrance and an exit. And what you do in the stock markets is you give yourself a low point where you exit and a high point that you don't go past. And I have something like this built in me. I did it a long time ago. One of the biggest problems with family and any mental health unit is they won't allow you to go to that place, and you have to go to that place. In fact, it would be better for people to leave you in bed and then leave you and leave you and leave you. There is no point going, come on, get up today. Just leave you. Just let you go through it. Let you go through all of those feelings, all of those emotions. Allow for that complete darkness to come in. The only time anybody should ever really step in is if you're getting suicidal. But you should be allowed to say that. You should be able to openly sit down with somebody and say that I don't feel like my life is worth living. I don't feel like I have a purpose. I don't feel like I matter. I don't feel like I have any importance to anybody. I feel alone. I feel isolated. It's okay to say these things. Unfortunately, not everybody has someone to talk to. Facebook has already told me today, messaged me. Somebody reported one of my posts and has told me all the Samaritan's number. But it doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't get you anywhere. Okay, it may off it for 5 minutes. It might make you feel better for a small period of time. But all you're doing is just putting plasters over gangrene and plasters over gangrene and plasters over gangrene to eventually you get to the point where you've either got to amputate your arm because there's so much fucking gangrene, or you got to dig that shit out. But the only way you can do that is to rip that plaster off. And we as individuals are not very good at that. In fact, I've still got Graham, still hasn't opened his mail. He's still burying his head because he doesn't want to face that. And we're very good at this. We're very good at this as human beings. We're very good at avoiding pain. We're very good at making sure that we just avoid or mask it. Hence why our country has such a problem with alcohol, such a problem with the amount of people that smoke, such a problem with people using drugs to mask pain, and so many people being on prescription medicine, because we're not taught to understand that we as human beings will move between pain and pleasure, pain and pleasure, pain and pleasure. That is it. We will move towards what we like and we will avoid what we don't. And hence why our country is focused on avoiding what we don't want. They're trying to put all these infrastructures in place to avoid, and actually what that's doing is causing the energy for us to be attacked. It's like we should be turning around and saying, I'm sorry, but we can't even afford to have our own camera at our front door of security. So we're not going to work to pay our taxpayers for you to pay for your security. Bye bye, Queen, and all your security. That would save this country quite a few £1,000,000. Bye bye, Royals, and all of your individual tailored security. That would free up a lot of money in this country right now. And Parliament, too. All of your security, mate. You know, that is pretty much the majority of the money. The money is going to security. The money is going to the policing, and not because of any form of protection, but because of a fear of people taking their power away. That's what that's about. Um, so in order for every mind to matter, we need a country of leaders that is empowering those minds, educating their minds, training their minds, teaching them. Like right now, Boris Johnson should be standing there going, look, we don't have certainty right now. This is what it's going to be looking like. This is what Great Britain is going to be like once we leave Brexit. This is the stuff that we want to be talking about. We want to be talking about all of the individuals that live here. We want to be talking about the planet that we have here in Great Britain, and look at these amazing, beautiful landmarks that we have that we want to cherish. And, you know, look how many churches that we've got that roofs have fallen down that we want to be repairing and rebuilding. Look at how many schools that we've got right now with all these gated communities up around, and maybe this could be different. You know, they're the sort of conversations that we should be having now. He should be hitting home with the personal development for us as individuals. He should be leading in prayer. He should be, you know, absolutely bringing this together, but it's not going to happen. And this is what worries me, because Step Up Britain was designed to bridge this gap, and I can't do it. I can't. It's absolutely physically impossible for me from this point of this situation to get them infrastructures in place. It's just not possible. And certainly no disrespect to Amber, but Amber is not a corporate person. She cannot understand a corporate way of working, and I need a corporate PA. It's a totally different way of working. So yeah, and I've also come to terms with quite a few things in my life as well now that I always thought would still maybe one day happen, and the fact is it's not. I'm 41 now, and my body is at the end of its time. I have a body of 100-year-old, and even though it's moving slightly, it's in a lot of pain, it's got a lot of damage, and I'm okay with that, but I don't have that support system around me, and it's not going to happen, because it's going to take people that I've known for a long time, and I don't have that anymore. So, and I really miss that. I don't really want to be talking to all of you guys. I want to be sitting down here with Dean, talking to Dean, you know, sharing my feelings with him. Or if it's not Dean, whoever my husband may be. I have only ever wanted one person to know my true me, my heart, mind, and soul inside out. I've never ever wanted the whole world or people or stuff to know me as an individual. I've only ever wanted that one person, and my dad and my mum. I've always said the same to psychiatrists. What is the point of us sitting down here talking about my relationship with my mum and my father for what? For him, for the therapist to get it, for the therapist to understand, to help me cope with not having my mum and my dad, and not being everything that I ever wanted to be, and not having my children around me. So now that's what I've got to learn to cope with. I have to learn to cope with waking up in the morning, dealing with a home that I can't stand being in, the noise that goes on here, waking up and seeing thousands of people walk past my window in the morning, which for me is really, really difficult. I find it so difficult going out of my flat, and not because of any form of social anxiety, but because I just really want somewhere quiet right now. In fact, I would be quite happy opening my front door, having absolutely nobody out there in the hallway, nobody out there where my car is, opening my gates and driving off and just going where I want to go to. The problem that I have here is I have no idea whether I can get out my front door and out in my lift and down to my car in just nice quietness. The chances of that happening is not good, because straight away I got the camera in the lift. I can't stand knowing that some bastard is sitting on a camera watching us get in and out the lift. And then I got someone that might jump in from 17 floors. And I love people. I do. I love people. But the only time I ever want to see a crowded room is if I'm talking on stage and it's a really packed room, and that's about the only time I ever want to see that amount of people around me. Like, one of the main reasons I'm not on the platform is I can't. It's too much. Don't forget, I'm coming from, you know, I'm not shy. I'm far from shy. It's not about a lack of confidence, and it's not about social anxiety. It's about energy, and it's about everybody else's energy. And some person might be down, some person might be up, some person might be here, some person might be there. And for me, walking into that space with so much energy around me, so much kinetic energy, so much frequency, so much staticness around me. It's like, and it just. And this is why you need to understand how your brain works and how other people influence the way that you think. There could be someone over in the corner. Actually, I've had this prime example. Dean and I were in the house, and there was someone sat on the bench across the way out here, and all of a sudden I started going through the most hardest suicide battle I have ever been through. But I didn't recognize the same way it was talking to me. Never used to talk to me that way. But this particular day, it's going, go on, cut, go on. And I'm not a cutter. Never been a cutter in my life. Never will be a cutter. I think when I was about 13, I put a blade to my wrist once, and it was like how my sister or anybody else that I know who's ever cut, I just can't get my head around any person that approves it to you. I'm not a cutter. This is why it makes me laugh when they call me borderline personality. Borderline personality people would have fucking cuts all down their wrists. I'm not a cutter. But this particular day, you know, I was really, really getting at all of the bang, 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 go on, really, go on. And it took me a while to realise what was happening. And it wasn't me, it was the man outside, because all of a sudden he just went bump. And then next time I looked, there was police and ambulance all around the place, and he had literally slashed his wrists. And that's how easy energy affects somebody like me. They say that we don't have empathy, us Aspies, but actually it's completely the opposite way around. In fact, one of the main reasons that you will see somebody with autism who, when they're going around a lot of people, will come in, pull their heads down. One of the main reasons that they don't give you eye contact as well is that energy, is that frequency. If you actually take time to sit down and talk with somebody with autism and ask them about you, they can probably tell you everything about you, where you are. They'll read you so well. And that's just that doctors haven't got that far in understanding why the overload starts, why the head bash starts, and it is just because it's too much. So I struggle with that grief already. And then I get annoyed with myself every day as well, because I am but one pair of hands and I have one body. And my goal is to move out of this flat. But that then means that me as an individual with my body and the two boys has basically got to get the boys out, go and get all of the boxes, bring all of the boxes back. I've got boxes downstairs in the storage from last time I pack up this entire flat. Also got to work at the same time as looking after the boys to make sure I've got the money to move. And then I've got to pack this place up, pack the boxes, move the stuff, move all the boxes. Now, you tell me one person who has ever managed to achieve that by themselves. There isn't. Hence why I'm a sitting duck, because there's too many things that I need to do that I just need that little bit of help with. And I don't have that around me. I'm too much of an inconvenience to my family. In fact, everything that I've ever done has been too much of an inconvenience, because my life is just drama. That's it, isn't it? Oh my goodness, she's having a baby, she hemorrhaged. Drama! You know, fucking nightmare. Seriously, I can't wait for this book to be finished. I really can't. I've started to actually realise in my life that I'm not the problem. I've beaten myself up for so long thinking that I was the problem, that I was doing something wrong to cause people to be like this with me. You know, I've gone over it so many times thinking, you know, why is my dad not here? Why is my dad not standing beside me? Why is my dad not being protective? Where's my mum? Why is my mum not, you know, coming out clothes shopping with me and helping me do, you know, get my book done? The fact is, she doesn't care. She doesn't care. There isn't actually anybody in my life that cares. And that is a really, really, really hard fact that I have to swallow. That there isn't anybody that knows how important to do this dance is to me and how challenging it is with my body. And there isn't anybody in my life that goes, just come on, we're doing this, mate. I don't care if we've got to keep going today, tomorrow, next day, but I'm going to make sure that you get this one wish. You know, if this is your only God-given fucking wish before you die, then I'm going to make it happen. There isn't anybody in my life like that. I tend to be that person in people's lives. I tend to be that one that sort of goes, you know, come on, you know, you can do this, you can be this. But I've never had anybody like that in my life, if that makes sense. Apart from my son. My son tends to sort of likes to remind me a few times. I remember when I couldn't public speak, my son Daniel used to make me get on the little X Factor mic that he had, because I knew that in order to do a book, I had to be able to public speak. I couldn't public speak. Obviously, clearly, I can public speak, but it took for Joe Medford's funeral for me to first ever public speak, and then obviously my kids being taken pushed me finally onto Downing Street to basically speak. So. You know, we've all got things to overcome, haven't we? We've all got challenges that we bear. And the problem is the majority of time people don't even know. Like even Dean said to me today, he said, you know, you're a fucking nightmare to live with. But, you know, when you're having to sit on your bathroom floor crying your eyes out in silence because you don't want your kids to hear you and you don't want to affect your partner, and then you got to come out with a big smile on your face, you know, it's quite difficult. And when you got social like I had at the beginning, you know, they're going to knock on the door today, the house has got to be straight, the anxiety, make sure, you know, getting pissed off because, you know, you just wipe the sides down and all of a sudden there's a coffee cup on the side and you're thinking, fucking hell, I've only just tidied that up, they could walk in at any time, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's a very, very, very horrible place to live in, and it's not me. And this is what annoys me about all of this situation, is it's not me. I'm very, very good at self-motivating myself. I'm very good at I know what I need to do. I know the moment my feet hit that floor, I know exactly what I've got to be on, what I've got to be doing, what brings out the best in me, what gets me going. It's just that I deliberately gave myself this time. I deliberately shut myself out to go, right, we're going here. We're going to feel this today. We're going to go right to the fucking core and really, really, really feel this. And I was able to say to Dean how I really felt about, you know, him abandoning us. And he's not really abandoned us, but he has abandoned us. And also the fact that I go through this alone. I go through this alone. And I need a type of person in my life right now that keeps me going, because I know it's worth it. I know keeping me alive is worth it. I know that there is a big message at the end of this. This is how easy it is. Can you see how quickly, you know, people think this is a game. They think this isn't real. But this is how quickly my emotions go to now wanting to completely just break down and cry. And that's not a very healthy place to be living in. That's not a good place to be living in. But the fact is, even if I go and sit down and talk to a shrink about this, it isn't going to change anything. It isn't going to bring my mum here. It isn't going to bring my dad here. It isn't going to bring my husband here. It isn't going to bring my kids home. It isn't going to bring my life back together. All it's going to do is just give me another stranger to talk to about everything that's gone on, for another stranger to know this information with me, but not actually build a relationship. I need hugs. I need physical connection. You know, I need pats on the back sometimes. You know, I don't need to sit with somebody who's summarizing, reflecting, paraphrasing. How does that make you feel? What I need is the people around me that are always going to be around me, as I will be around them, who know, you know, they see the calendar, they know Aaron's birthday today, you know, so they know it's Aaron's birthday. Why would anybody expect Kelly to be somewhere at a certain time? Say it's Aaron's birthday. We do this every year. Do you know what I mean? Every year we do something for Aaron's birthday. It's Faith's birthday. We do something for Faith's birthday. You know, I need people who know that even when it comes to Christmas, you know, that I will always keep that energy for my children. And that isn't going to stop. That isn't going to stop until they're home with me. By what I gather by my children, they will cope very easy coming home, to be honest. From what I get in these letters, yeah, Aaron and Faith will come home quite easy, to be honest. They know that they're not their family. Aaron's not happy about not being at school anyway. He'll be quite happy to come skateboarding and stuff with us and doing his computer stuff. In fact, it would be absolutely fucking amazing having a computer genius in the family. And yeah, Faith could very, 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 very well easy readjust and do what she loves doing. That isn't going to be a problem. The problem for me is that I've ended up with more and more persecution since Aaron and Faith were ever taken. So now I've got more paperwork on top of me. So rather than it just being a case of, hey, fantastic, we read her paperwork, we didn't see a problem, we've assessed her, fantastic, great, she's had her children, she's doing really well. You know, now I've got all this shit to go on. And the trouble is I need to work. And the problem is now I actually do have mental health issues. And it's very difficult for someone like me to stay focused, to keep every day going, especially when I can't come into my social media and I can't have it the way that I need to. The moment I come in, if Amber's fucked up my social media, I'll fuck off out. If that energy, that frequency is not right, I'm not there. I'm gone. So even today, I can't decide whether to take mine and Dean's photo down or turn it into it's done, dusted? Do I have faith in our relationship? Do I not have faith in our relationship? Has Dean actually just been giving me, going away to give me the space to deal with this? Or have I pushed him away to deal with it on my own? I don't know. So I just got to keep on going. Anyway, I've done my hour for the evening. It's not been an easy couple of days. I'm very, 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 very much looking forward to going and crawling into that bed. It's a bit difficult still because I've got the fucking bar down the bloody middle, and it's not exactly like getting into a really lovely bed. It's a futon sofa bed that fucked, hence why I got it for free. But hey, you know, I get there one day. Or maybe this is it. Maybe this is as good as it gets, and I just have to accept this is it and try my damned hardest to be able to cope with the situation. But the fact is, only I'm in control of these choices, and they can keep my mind wrapped up as much as they like, but I have the power to allow that to happen. And I can walk out of this door at any day I like and get into my car and never fucking come back. And that is pretty much the way it's going, but only once all that's done. So the quicker that paperwork gets done, the quicker it all gets signed, sealed, and over to that court, the quicker I am to literally being able to pack my suitcases of our personal things and the things that we want to take and say bye to this entire fucking chapter of my life. It's been horrid. In fact, the 4 years that I've had here have been worse. Even though I have the boys with me, it's been worse than how I've been treated the whole way through. It's just that it's a bit more of a water off the duck's back with me now, because I don't really expect much less from this system. So got the health visitor on Thursday. She's coming here. I have to engage with early years thanks to my 14th and 15th and 16th fucking call from people here to social. I get people are worried about me, but you know, if you want to help, don't hinder. Sorry, but any person who wants to keep reporting me, you're not helping me at all. Not helping me one fucking iota. In fact, what you're doing is you're causing further stress and anxiety to me. You're causing for me to have to now lock myself into my fucking house because I'm too fearful of fucking police turning up and me being on my own. So yeah, you're not helping. But will I come back again? Yes. Will tomorrow be another day? Yes. Am I going to wake up in complete and utter fucking depression? Yeah, of course I am. The first thing that I do is I reach out to Dean. Now, luckily, I'm not blocked anymore. So it's been very, very, very nice waking up to nice little messages, hellos from Dean. Is that relationship ever going to work? Fuck knows. I have no idea, but I absolutely adore him, love him to bits. And I would need a lot of fucking closure. It's part of what damages my grief. If my relationship was healthy, then I probably wouldn't struggle as much as I do. But it's a topple, isn't it? You know, you grieve about your dad, you grieve about your mum, grieve about your kids, and it's... So anyway, I made it through today. I'm quite shocked I made it through today, to be honest, because there was a point today I thought, this is it. Shit, who's going to have the kids? I'm going. I'm saying bye to the world today. But yeah, lucky Dean was there today, and me and Dean were able to talk me through it, and he was really good about it, to be honest. That's the first time ever. He just tells me that I'm wrong, this isn't the way that I feel, and he just shuts me down and goes, bang, I don't want to talk about it. But today he didn't. Today he just went, okay, And then the next one was sort of like, okay, so when is this happening? What do I need to be preparing for? And what's going to happen with the kids? And that made it so much easier, because then that got me thinking about the realities of, hang on a minute, if I take an overdose here, hang myself, do what I need to do, there's 2 little boys, boom, boom, boom. Obviously, I'm always aware of that. Dean is in Spain, not like he can be here immediately. But like I've said, will I ever take my life? No. No, I might go to these places. It might sometimes fucking destroy me. Some days I may have to reach out to my family members and go, this is a rough ride, this is a bad one. But that's what I need. What Dean did to me today, that is what I need. I don't need people telling me I don't feel this way. I don't need people telling me I will get over it. I don't need people telling me that it's not real. I just need people to accept, okay, you're feeling low today, you're having a bad day today, that's okay. Do you want to sit down and just watch some fucking films today? Let's just shut the world out and just watch some films. Or, well, hang on a minute, it's okay to feel this way, but we've got to be somewhere today. Like tomorrow, I've got to actually be out by 3 o'clock tomorrow. So it doesn't matter how I feel, I have to bounce through it. Otherwise, I let people down. So it's not about putting masks on and covering up how we really feel. It's about being completely raw and authentic and building those relationships with the people around you that you don't have to put the mask on with them. In fact, Graham came around today and he waited until later because he's decided I'm not a morning person. And I just sat there. And I didn't have to. He just bought me at a bar, bought me a chunk of chocolate. He just bought me a chunk of chocolate, that's it. Yeah, I didn't have to say, hey Graham, how you doing? Come in. Wait for him to go and go. You know, I didn't have to do that today. I just said, Graham, this is just how it is. I'm in this space. It's what I'm going through. And that's it. And he said, well, I only come in for 5 minutes today then. And yeah, that was nice. Because we shouldn't have to put masks on for people. We shouldn't have to cover up how we feel. In fact, actually, we would have a healthier society if they got rid of all of these, don't get angry, don't do this, don't do that. And actually, just we, the individuals, will just taught to cope with that stuff. Someone shouts at you, so be it. You know, it might not even be personal to you. Likelihood is it's not even personal to you. They just need, so if you are a receptionist at a doctor's surgery, then you should be trained to deal with angry, pissed off people who are scared. And it should just be a case of, hey, don't worry about it, love. It's not a problem. I want coffee. Come around the side. Let's have a chat. Yeah. We need to start being human with each other. We need to start having compassion and understanding with each other. And all these people that go, she's mad, she's crazy, she's got mental health. Oh, fuck off. Seriously. You are abusers. You are abusers to people dealing with trauma. And the reason that you do that is because actually you're dealing with your own trauma and you're too scared of being put under the mental health label, because nobody wants to sit under the mental health label. Nobody wants to actually go, I'm currently struggling with my life right now. I'm struggling with my emotions right now. The fact is, what year are we in now? God, bloody hell, coming in 6 years, my kids were kidnapped. They were. And no, you don't just get over it. You don't just move on with your life. Yes, you can put some masks on. Yes, you can do your best to deal with it. But you know what? The majority of parents are in that bed and haven't got out that bed. And, you know, do struggle. At least I try. At least I try, damn, do my best. I will help other people where I can, if I am in the right place to do so. It's not personal. I'm sorry, but it's not my job. I don't get paid to do it. I am a mother dealing with my own grief. I didn't speak out to help people. I spoke out to get help that I have never received. And I can help people all I can, but I need to get my life in order. I need to heal. I need to get my shit together. I need to, for the sake of the boys, for the sake of Aaron and Faith, and for the sake of Liam and Daniel, but more to the point, for the sake of me. For me, it's for me. You know, it's not about my kids. It's about me. You know, I love my kids, but if, as I said down on Downing Street, if mum's not right, the kids are not right. If mum's right, the kids are right. So this mum has to get right. And that means I am going to keep going around this fucking hamster wheel dealing with this grief. There is no way for someone like me to complete the healing process. There is no way for someone like me to ever overcome what I've been through. All I can do is make people around me aware to what triggers me off, what upsets me, what hurts me. And if they care about me enough, then they will understand and they will support me through that. And if that's too much for them, then they don't need to be in my life. I'm sorry if they want happy sunrises 24/7. Yeah, well then fuck off and go and be with somebody who's got no trauma. I have trauma and I am dealing with it, and I am doing the best that I can with what I have, with what is around me at this particular point. The quicker I get this book finished, the quicker I get my paperwork finished, the better. Because then people haven't got these pigeon books. And actually today, I've had 3 messages to say, like, can I get your book? You know, can I have a read for your book? So, you know, maybe this book is important to somebody out there. Maybe that's why there is a rush for me to get this book done, because there is somebody currently out there, be it an EDS mother with kids that is struggling and is about to call social and learns not to do so, or how to educate social. You know, I don't know, but maybe there is somebody out there that needs it. And I've always said, even if it just helps one person, even if it just stops one person from knowing what I'm going through. And please, women, just remember, it's so much easier for us women to talk about our feelings and emotions. It's not so easy for the men to do it. And if your kid was taken from you, and then your kid was taken from the father of your child too, and you got to stick together. You've got to come together. If they're not interested, then they're not interested, and there's nothing you can do about that. But you have to still be the one that goes and be's that parent for your child. And I really, 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 really wish all the parents were like the people from XR. I do. I do. Could you imagine right now? I know we have the numbers. I know we have the numbers of parents. I know we visually have the number of parents. We only have to stand under one banner. We only have to have one message. We just need everybody else visual. And the thing is I can keep trying. And the fact is, the parents just haven't got it in them. They haven't. But what is a shame is I've seen a lot of parents that have gone to XR, who have gone through the training, and they're ready. They're ready to come out onto this platform with us. They're still there because it gives them something to do every day. Learning. But could you imagine if we all just chose one date that we all said, and then make it a Wednesday when all the Parliament are in, you know, and you can get from a megabus on for £5. And yeah, we really could actually fucking really end this. We could really fucking expose what is going on in children and adult social care and how all the families are being failed. Because even if you're not having your kids taken, even if you haven't had your home taken, there isn't one person in this social care system who can turn around and say, I am loving my life thanks to all of the help that I have had from social care. You bring me them articles out. You bring me them articles out then that say that I wouldn't have been a Paralympian if it hadn't have been for my social worker. Go and ask every single Paralympian, yeah? In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to ask every single and I have access to do that because I actually know quite a lot of the Paralympians. So, you know, I'm going to ask them, how many of the Paralympians had adult social care or children's social care helping them achieve their goals and their dreams, enabling them? I guarantee you, all of them that have gone that way dealt with their lives privately, as in private facilities. And I bet you they didn't go to the state facilities. Now, if we then compare them and see which ones went the other way and where their lives are, so where the amputees are in who have gone through social care and who have gone through the benefit welfare system, and then see their lives in comparison to those that have been enabled and empowered. That'd be interesting. Yeah, that'd be interesting. If social care, well, it is a business, but if social care was a restaurant, it would have been closed down many, 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 many years ago, failed. So anyway, I don't have my family, but I hope you have yours. And I hope that tomorrow you just count your blessings for the people that are in your lives, because some of us really are alone, going through this alone. Yes, we have Crackbook. Yes, we have the relationships that we have on Crackbook. But the reality is right here, I'm going through this on my own. So I do my best with what I have. And we all can, I suppose. So anyway, guys, I don't even know what day it is. So it's Wednesday. Is it Wednesday today? It's Wednesday today now. So anyway, I'll be on to, I do believe the X are going to be outside the Royal Courts of Justice tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be a lot of parents that maybe want to go down to the Royal Courts of Justice tomorrow and maybe go and educate lots of these judges and barristers. There's going to be a couple of barristers coming out tomorrow. There's going to be a couple of magistrates coming out tomorrow. Quite a few legals, quite a few lawyers. So hopefully maybe there's be some people go down and educate them. And, you know, there's no point going, you're bastards, you're kidnapping your kids. You need to explain this system. You need to explain how it's happening, how vulnerable people are being exploited and manipulated because they're in depression or suppression, and how the way that this system is structured and what it does, basically. So anyway, I'm going to go and watch a film. Anybody's got any good films, that'd be really good. Post me a really good film. I'm going to go and lay in my bed. And hopefully I will wake up to a nice, lovely message from Dean in the morning. If not, it's okay. But I have a feeling I might. And yeah, some bits of inspiration. What was I going to say? I've just seen some message from Jefferson. I just want to say thanks. And to those who do post messages and comments, I haven't seen them or read them. I do get chance after to sort of go through, and I have said I will give space for reading messages, and it is important, but please don't take me personally when I say that I get very overwhelmed. I'd be gutted if there was no messages. That would be like, oh, who the fuck am I talking to? But you got to remember, I don't know you. I might have met you or I might not have met you. And it would be so much easier if I was doing workshops and seminars and events, because then at least I would have a relationship, say, with some of you. But the reality is, you're all strangers to me. And even though you might have some messages, you've got to remember that I might be the only person you're talking to, and you get to know me, but I don't get to know you. And you need to remember that sometimes when I come into this space, I'm quite nervous because there isn't anybody that I know here. I don't even know Amber. I've met Amber once. You know, she's just somebody online. And I know I mean more to her than she needs to me. And that's really sad. And I'm sorry to say that. But I don't know any of you. So for someone like me to even come into this space not knowing people, you imagine turning up at a party and walking through a door, knowing that you might recognize a few faces, but you don't actually know anybody. And not a lot of people will even walk through that door. And you might sort of go to an area that you're comfortable with or see a face that you're familiar with. But yeah, for someone like me, I struggle. I struggle with a lot of things, and I struggle with the facts that, you know, like even today, I've had a lot of people telling me, you don't feel this way, you don't feel this way. I don't need that in my life right now. And I'm trying to build a really good support network around me of people who understand how to handle me and understand how to deal with me at different points of my life. And yeah, so for the people that are watching, I assume it's because you've either had a child taken or you're part of one of the networks, or you're an alienated family. I'd love to get back to doing some coaching. I really would. And I think it would probably help me. I just don't know how I can be that level of support to somebody right now, because it just takes it out of me. And when people don't pay, and this sounds really bad, but when people don't pay and you don't treat it as a career properly, then people just tend to take all of your time and go off and achieve their goals. And as much as you don't want the credit for being that coach, it can be really fucking sickening to see the amount of effort and work that you've put for someone to achieve their lives. And that's great, but they're not the sort of people that I need around me right now. I need to be working in co-symbioticness with people, if that makes sense. I don't need takers in my life right now. And I don't just need givers either. I need a bit of the balance of give and take, if that makes sense. So, fact is, you parents are never going to rise. We're never going to get the results that XR have got for the families. I can't change that. I can keep pushing. I'm just going to keep falling on my fucking ass. So all I can do is just keep focusing on this book and hope to God that I can do the best that I can by that. And then I don't need to keep doing these videos, do I? So it's all out there then. So, God, life's shit. You want me to be brutally honest? I don't want to wake up tomorrow. It's only because I've got them little boys in there. My stronghold comes and gives me a stronghold. And Elijah, he tells me that I'm his best friend. So, what more of a reason do you need to get up, hey? And a little bit of hope that I might have a message from Dean. That's pretty much all I live for right now. Getting this paperwork straight. So, it's a fucking shit life. It's so far from my ambitions and hopes and dreams for myself. Now I just gotta wake up to get my head off the pillow. So anyway, my phone will be with me in the morning. Will I get my head off the pillow? Probably not. Probably not. I don't have to be up and ready until 3 o'clock tomorrow. So, it's so windy and so cold out there that the boys aren't nagging me to go to the park, so that's fine. And they certainly don't want to go to the beach at the moment, so that's fine too. Like I said, it's hibernation time. and I quite like it, to be honest. Elijah's getting into building things, and he's quite happy sitting and making things, and yeah. Anyway, I just want to go and have a cry again, so that's me. Moss been on for a bit. I'm going to go and have a cry for a bit, and yeah, I think I'll probably cry myself to sleep tonight. Catch up with you later.